Okay, my dear students, now I am going to discuss in this particular video what are the important questions from the examination point of view in order to get actually a minimum of 30 marks in our exam, just like a short form of guess questions we can say. That's why the name itself is indicating the CA Inter GST Masterminds Focus 30. That means by reading these topics, a minimum or a maximum, I can't say minimum or max, but definitely you're able to get 30 marks if at all you're able to read or focus on these particular areas with respect to our GST. So with respect to the first chapter, GST in India and introduction part, you need to keep focus on the constitutional aspects like article number 246A, article number 269A, and post GST still excise duty, CST, VAT is there or not, if at all excise duty, VAT or CST is there, on which products it was there. So like in these areas, you need to keep focus on the first chapter GST in India and introduction part. And let's come to second chapter here. In second chapter, that is supply under GST, you need to keep focus on the 7.1b import of service and 7.1c deemed supplies and 7 subsection 2 negative list of GST, and even though you don't write there, you can focus on composite and mixed supplies. Now come to this the third chapter, levy and collection of GST or charge of GST. So in this, the important sections are 9.3, 9.5 and section 10. With respect to 9.3, the things we need to keep focus is GTA services, legal services, government services, director services, sponsorship, author to the publisher, security services, renting of passenger vehicle. These are the most important areas in 9 subsection 3 you are able to keep focus on. And after that 9.5 ECU related, only 4 services are there. That's why I did not specify their names, like what we can say, hotel accommodation, housekeeping services, transportation of passengers, food aggregators like Zomato or Swiggy. The only 4 activities are there. You need to read those 4 as per 9.5. And section 10, which is deals with composition scheme. The major important areas we need to keep focus is sublimits for services in section 10.1 and 10.2. Sublimits for services in 10.1 and 10.2. That means if at all you are able to recollect, along with the goods, supply of service can also be made up to a specified limit of preceding financial year turnover 10% or 5 lakhs, whichever is high, like that. Those sublimits are there, those are important. And can opt for composition scheme for 1 unit or not. That means if at all you are having 2 units, for 1 unit composition, another unit normal scheme, is it possible to take like that? No. So in the same way, negative list of composition scheme. With respect to negative list of composition scheme, like who are the people that are not eligible, like that. And in the same way, exit from composition scheme, like when the people needs to exit mandatorily or optional facilities there or not. These are the areas you need to keep focus in section 10. So there ends the chapter number 3, levy and collection. And exemptions. With respect to exemptions from GST, these are the most important areas you need to keep focus, like charitable and religious activities, agriculture, education services, legal services, health services, passenger transport, goods transport, exempted interest related topics, government, choose government or by government, artist performance. These are the most important areas you need to keep focus from the exemptions point of view. Next one is time and value of supply. With respect to this particular chapter, we need to keep focus on 12.2, that means with respect to goods, 12.2 FCM, 12.3 RCM, and 13.2 FCM, 13.3 RCM with respect to services, vouchers, and 15.2 inclusions in value of supply, 15.3 exclusions from value of supply. So these are the points one need to keep remember. And next one is input tax credit. With respect to input tax credit, the areas you need to keep focus is 16 subsection 2, conditions for claiming the ITC, 16 subsection 4, the maximum time limit to claim the ITC. 17 subsection 5, blocked credits or negative list of ITC. 18.1, claiming ITC in special circumstances. 18.4, reversal of ITC in special circumstances. 18.6, sale it as second-hand good, and Rule 86A and 86B. These are the most important areas we need to keep focus with respect to input tax credit. And with respect to registration, the most important areas will be section 22, 23, 24, 22 persons liable for registration, 23 persons not liable for registration, and 24 compulsory registration. Along with that, Rule 10A, the time limit to submit the bank details, CTP, NRTP and unique identification number topics, and section 29 cancellation of RC, section 30 revocation of cancellation. These are the important areas you need to keep focus in registration chapter. And with respect to tax invoice, debit notes and credit notes and e-way bill, regarding that, what are the important areas we need to keep focus ma? HSN code, revised tax invoice, e-invoice, QR code, debit and credit notes, a delivery challan, when e-way bill is required, exemption from e-way bill, who is required to generate the e-way bill, who will prepare the parts of e-way bill, like who will prepare part A, who will prepare part B, like that. All these points are important in tax invoice, debit notes and credit notes concept. Next one is with respect to payment of tax. The important areas will be e-cash ledger and liability register topics. Along with that, section 50 interest computation is the most important one. You need to keep focus in payment of tax chapter. And with respect to returns, the areas you need to keep focus is GSTR1, GSTR3B, GSTR5, GSTR10, GSTR2A and GSTR2B, and due dates for returns and due date for payment of taxes. And if the returns are not filed within the due date, what is the late fee? All these things will come under the topic of returns. And whereas with respect to this TDS and TCS concept, who is required to deduct the TDS and who is not required to deduct the TDS, and what are the returns like GSTR 7 or GSTR 8, and what are those due dates? These are the important areas in TDS and TCS chapter. Whereas with respect to place of supply, you need to read section 10 in entire because it deals with goods and very small topic. And apart from that, in services related, 12.3 with relation to immobile property, 12.6, 12.7 deals with admission and organizing the event, 12.8 goods transportation, 12.9 passenger transportation, and 12.10 supplying the services on the board of a conveyance. These are the important areas with respect to place of supply. And last but not the least, accounts and records, you need to keep focus on section 35 and 36, retention of accounts for how much period of time. So these are the important areas with respect to our GST in entire. If at all you are able to read these areas, definitely there is a 90 to 95% probability that you will get a minimum of 30 marks in our GST out of 50. I hope this video will be useful to you. For more of these type of videos, please stay tuned to Masterminds YouTube channel. That's it for this session. Bye to all.